So I thought I would just jump in real quick into one of the tools that I've been using a lot this week with my patients and with anybody who's been calling me with difficulties this week. And it's a understanding what an upset is. Three different elements of an upset, how they actually contribute so that we get hooked or fused to a particular thought, and we tend to then move away from that which is important to us, the things that actually matter to us the most. So these are the three elements of an upset. So what is an upset? Well, basically, anytime we are upset or disappointed or frustrated or angry, stressed out, chances are I would think you would define that moment as being upset. So the first one is an undelivered communication. This is typically when we purposely withhold thoughts or feelings from another person, or when we feel that for whatever reason we can't say what we need to say. Resentment and frustration begin to build up inside of us. This often leads to feeling subjugated, and we will do weird behaviors. We become passive aggressive, we'll become outright aggressive, and there's an increased likelihood of having negative interactions. So an undelivered communication is something that you wanted to say, but it didn't happen for a variety of reasons. Two, it's something that you should have said, but you held it back. Or three, it was something that was said instead of something that actually needed to be said. So here are some examples. Not saying what needs to be said in order to avoid hurt or conflict. We often will try to placate or to compromise because we don't want to experience the strong emotion in the moment. We will escape. Now, there's multiple ways we can escape, but it's that initial upset that lands in our body. We get an emotional response, we get a physical response, and then boom, we try to escape from it. We'll avoid interacting with another because something needs to be addressed. This is the function of avoiding. And then finally, there is focusing on another topic, which then overrides the topic that needs to be addressed. This is a control strategy. The second one is an unfulfilled expectation. This is probably one of the most common contributors to when we become upset, and expectations galore are being completely stepped on all over the place right now due to COVID-19 and having to stay at home. And it's also when we begin to expect certain outcomes or interactions with other people. This type of upset is based upon our own upbringing, our culture, and the rules, the tools and the beliefs that we've adapted over our life. These are unconscious rules and tools running in the background. And they give us an idea of what we should expect. There's a certain level of entitlement. And these are assumptions that we've made. So an unfulfilled expectation could be something that was expected, which didn't come to fruition. It's an outcome which had been planned for, but fell through for a variety of reasons, COVID-19, and something that turns out to be opposite of what is considered the norm. There's a certain entitlement. I should be allowed to go to spring break. I should be allowed to go to the grocery store when I want to. I should be allowed to hang out with my friends when I want to. But, well, we have an expectation, and it can no longer be fulfilled at this time. Hence, we're upset. And then finally, there's the blocked intention. This aspect of an upset occurs when we have a vision of what we would like to see happen in the future, and yet, for whatever reason, during the time we're trying to make this happen, it gets interrupted or is completely blocked. Things just don't line up, and the intention is often overlooked or even misinterpreted. So maybe you typically have a bad interaction with somebody, and you decide, I'm not going to do that this time. I just want to have a pleasant conversation with this person. And in the midst of the conversation, they do the thing that they always do, blocking your intention, and then you not paying attention to the fact that you've been activated, that you've been triggered, that this upset comes front and center. We become fused with it, and what do? We move away from who it is and what we said we wanted to be in that moment instead of moving towards that, or at least keeping healthy boundaries. We just break away, escape, avoid, control. So these three elements of an upset are always present, and they typically come bundled together. One will be experienced more intensely than the others, but all three are present. This is a key to untangling yourself from the types of automatic responses. This is key to unhooking yourself. So how do we get through this? But we can use the STOP technique, S-T-O-P, step back, take a breath, observe what's going on right in this moment. And we're going to ask ourselves some questions. And then the P stands for proceeding on what matters, proceeding on your values. But back to the O. So here's the questions you can actually ask when you're observing. What am I not saying? What accomplishment didn't happen? Which of my expectations weren't being met? If I can define what that is, now I have a more clear line of communication. I'm more concise in what I actually need to say or do in this moment to be able to move towards my values, towards the things that actually matter in this moment. Answering one or more of these questions for yourself will help you to get to the root of what's really bothering you, as well as to guide you as to how to proceed on what you value. So this means we skip the blame. We don't take it personal, and then we proceed on our values. So what we can do is we can actually declare a breakdown. You can say, oh, I realize that I'm upset in that STOP, in that stop moment. All right, I think we just both need to stop for a second. I think we might be having a breakdown. This simply acknowledges that something has gone off track, something is being missed, and is a neutral statement which does not assign blame. And then give yourself that moment to step back and to take a couple breaths. Pause. Allow everybody then to come back together at some point. And it's always a good idea if you do decide to leave the scene for a little bit to say, hey, look, I need a moment. I think we should stop. How about we circle back up in about 30 minutes and simply describe the reason or the reasons that caused the upset. I think there was an unfulfilled expectation. I thought we were going to be able to go on this trip. Now with COVID-19, it's not happening. I'm upset. And unfortunately, I guess, was more upset than I thought. I just need to find something that matters, a value, something I can do that lines up with my values. And let's play around with that. If we can focus on the present moment, this helps us to not take it personally, helps us to become very clinical, very scientific. And it also gives us a moment to be able to see if we're being hooked by something that's not in the present moment. Are we being hooked by one of these three aspects of being upset, the three elements of an upset? Recall what you value. What truly matters in this moment? What actions can you take right now that will make you a better person, that will make the relationship a better relationship, that will make the family a better family? And start to just have those percolate in the back of your mind. What will make us better tomorrow than we were today? What will make us better today than we were yesterday? Then we can begin to dissolve the tension around the disagreements. We can use what actually upsets us to move towards a values-based and meaningful life. So there you have it. This is the three elements of an upset. And right now, a lot of us are at least a modicum upset because life is not doing what we've known it always to do. It's not as reliable, and we're having to learn to adjust and to shift. And it's going to take us some time, but I hope that this tool will help you in that journey. Stay safe, and I hope that you are doing well.